Okay, let's talk about the peace lily. You've got this gorgeous plant, it's lush, it's green, it looks super healthy, but it's doing everything except putting out those amazing white flowers. I totally get it. It's probably one of the most common frustrations for plant parents, but don't worry, we're going to solve it today.
You remember bringing it home, right? It was a perfect picture of white and green. But then, poof, after that first amazing bloom, it's just green. Lots and lots of healthy leaves for sure, but the flowers are nowhere to be seen. Well, that's a classic story, and we are about to give it a much happier ending, starting with understanding what is really going on inside your plant.
So first up, the blooming mystery. See, to get to the bottom of this, we kind of need to learn how to think like a plant. It's sending you signals all the time, and our job is to learn how to read them.
Let's kick things off with a quick anatomy lesson that honestly changes everything. You know that big, beautiful white petal? Well, guess what? It's not a petal at all. It's actually a special modified leaf called a spath. The real flowers are all those tiny little bumps you see on the central spike, which is called the spadix. Knowing this is going to be key.
And here is the big secret, the thing that sets so many of us up for failure right from the start. The reason peace lilies are always blooming perfectly in the store? It's because commercial growers use a plant hormone to force them to flower on command. It's basically a chemical trick. It's not a realistic standard for a plant just chilling in your living room.
And here's another huge piece of the puzzle that's all about one thing: patience. A peace lily won't even think about flowering until it's mature, and that can take anywhere from 1 to 3 years. So if your plant is still just a youngster, your only job is to help it grow up strong and healthy. The flowers, they'll come when it's good and ready.
Okay, now for the part you can actually control, setting the perfect scene. These are the environmental must-haves. You get these next 3 things right, and I promise you, you are most of the way there.
Light. This is the single most important factor, period. What you're aiming for is that sweet spot of bright but indirect light. You know, like near a north or an east-facing window. Too little light, you get nothing. But here's a really cool clue. If your white spaths start turning green, your plant is actually telling you the light is too intense. How cool is that?
Next up, temperature. These are tropical plants, right? So they like it warm. And maybe even more importantly, they like it consistent. Keep them away from drafty windows, AC vents, or blasting radiators. Those sudden temperature swings really stress them out and will shut down any chance of flowering.
Now, let's bust a major myth. Misting. So many of us do it thinking we're helping, but the hard truth is, it's just not enough. Misting only bumps up the humidity for a few minutes. It's like a tiny sip of water when the plant needs a long drink. It just doesn't provide the sustained moisture it's craving.
So, what actually works? Well, to get that consistent 40 to 70% humidity that really mimics their rainforest home, a humidifier is your absolute best bet. A pebble tray or even just grouping your plants together are decent options. But as you can see, misting is by far the least effective method on the list.
Okay, environment set. Now it's time for a proper plant health checkup. We're going to move from just setting the scene to active maintenance, the stuff you can do right now to directly encourage those blooms.
You have got to check the roots. A plant that's root-bound is basically in survival mode. It's too stressed and crammed in there to spend any energy on making flowers. If you see any of these signs, especially roots poking out the bottom, it is definitely time to repot into a slightly larger home, usually every 1 to 2 years.
Let's talk about food. For just day-to-day health, a balanced fertilizer is totally fine. But when you want to kickstart some blooms, you need to switch to a fertilizer that's high in phosphorus. That's the middle number. And here is the golden rule. No matter what, always dilute it to half strength. You don't want to accidentally burn those delicate roots.
Oh, this is such an easy win. When a bloom is spent, it's turned green or brown, don't just snip the flower off at the top. You gotta follow that stem all the way down, right down to the base of the plant, and cut it there. This sends a clear signal to the plant to stop wasting energy on a dying flower and put it towards making brand new ones instead.
All right, so you've done everything right. The light is perfect, the watering's on point, you're feeding it, and still no flowers. It's time to bring out the secret weapon, a gentle, strategic shock to its system.
This is a really effective technique that actually mimics the natural triggers in the plant's native habitat. It's a simple 1-2 punch. Let me show you how it works. First, you're going to simulate a cool season. Just move your plant to a spot that's consistently cooler, somewhere between 55 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and leave it there for 2 weeks. During this little vacation, you'll also water it a bit less.
This temperature drop is the wake-up call that tells the plant, hey, it's time to shift from growing leaves to making flowers.
Now, the order you do this in is absolutely critical. You do the 2-week cool down first to trigger the process. Then, once you move it back to its regular warm spot, you hit it with that high-phosphorus fertilizer. The cold is the signal, and the fertilizer is the fuel to make it all happen.
So let's put this all together, okay? Here's your final, simple blueprint that you can use to figure out exactly what's going on and what to do about it.
This table is your quick glance guide. Let's just run through it. Healthy leaves but no flowers? It's almost always a lack of light. Stunted growth? It's probably root-bound. Spathes turning green? Back off the light a little. Brown tips on the leaves? That's a cry for more humidity. See? It's the perfect little diagnostic tool. And finally, a very, very important safety note. All parts of the peace lily are toxic if someone or something eats them. This is because of something called calcium oxalate crystals. So please, keep this beautiful plant well out of reach of curious pets and small children.
And there you have it. You now have the complete toolkit, from the simple environmental stuff to the more advanced forcing techniques. The mystery is officially solved. Your plant has everything it needs to put on a spectacular show for you. So the only question left is, are you ready to help it? Thanks for tuning in.